Good morning in the beautiful Galilee morning. I'm coming to you with a need that we have, and I'll explain a little bit how that developed. But last year I've never asked for specifically a donation from the people who utilize the information I provide. Last year we had the fire, and someone created a fundraiser for us so that we could make the repairs, and we were very grateful for that help. This year, our need is to finish sealing the roof. That has to be done this year before the rains start in earnest. We last year thought we had a donor, that someone actually that offered to us to take care of the sealing of the roof. Well, unfortunately, because they become very unhappy with my stand of not wavering in what I believe is correct biblical calendar understanding, they become very unhappy with me as an individual and withdrew the funding. So since last year, we've saved up the amount for the roof, to have the roof sealed. Let me play that video for you. Our roofs are flat roofs for whatever reason. I don't know. They are flat roofs and they have to be sealed regularly in order to not get water filtration. Last year, I spent a significant amount of my year covering the furniture in the living room with plastic because the water filtration was just, and black mold grew, and I had buckets sitting around. And as we say in Hebrew, it was a balagan. It was a mess. And so this year we had begun the process of resealing the roof. Let me get rid of these pop-ups here, of resealing the roof. Here we go. And we have the roof 50% sealed. Since we began this process, my account in the US has been flagged for fraud. And indeed, fraud was attempted against that account. And so they've shut my debit card. I can't withdraw any funds from that account for 3 weeks until I get that replacement card. And in the meantime, the money to pay for the other half of this roof is in that bank account. But again, if I say that I'm stressed, and I'm not stressed about the war, the thought of covering furniture again this year in the rainy season is stressful to me. So what we're asking is, let me play this again so I can show you. What we're asking for, what I'm asking for is, whoops. So if we look right here, over here on this side, it's not been sealed. What I am asking for is $1,000 US. And I'm not asking you, over this side it's not been sealed, 50% is sealed, and I'm not asking you to give if you had no intention of giving. If you had no intention of giving, I'm asking you to pray. But if you've ever thought about giving, now would be a great time to do it, so that we can go ahead and let this guy finish his work and be able to pay him the $1,000 US for the labor. The material is bought. I'm short the labor to finish paying for the roof. Stop sharing this. So since it's fraud against our US bank account where our Social Security and Patreon funding goes, all I have access to is my PayPal in Israel. And that has never been a lot of money. From time to time, I've had large donations in there, but the average monthly amount is around 100, 150 US dollars. Optimistically, Patreon did receive the majority of the donations, although there's no way to live on what we receive, which is fine. Everything's in Elohim's hands. But in order for me to access the money to finish the work, rather than waiting 3 weeks, if you decide that you're going to donate and you can do it now, using PayPal is the best way to get me the funds so I can finish the ceiling of this roof. Yeah, basically that's about it. That's what you need to know is we've had this crisis in attempted fraud against the major account we keep in the US. Maybe you'd like to know why we keep the US account. Because when you have an account, in which we do, they're small. In Israel, it's a lot of extra steps to access the money. You have to tell them why you're taking it. You have to have a code. Even at the register, you can't just make a payment. You have to have a code. I mean, like, and it has to come into your phone, and then you have to use that code at the register. If your card is from the US, you just swipe. If you make a purchase at the checkout or at the ATM, you just swipe or you just use your PIN number and you're further on down the road. So that's why we've kept it, is for the convenience. And honestly, all the years we've been in Israel, this is the first time I've had fraud against the account. So it's not like it happens frequently that we have fraud against the US account. In fact, this is perfect timing. Perfect timing against a need we had. So anyway, that's the whole story. If you were going to give, I would ask you that you can please use PayPal and I'll be able to access those funds immediately. Yes, I will have to go explain while I'm taking the money out, but the need right now is great ahead of the rains to go ahead and get the other half of the roof sealed. Thanks for giving me your time and listening, and Shavua Tov from the Galilee.